I want to thank God for my executive staff, especially my vice presidents that held up the meeting, our last meeting before we break for the summer. But before we break for the summer, I just wanted to give a PSA out there. I want to give the PSA to say thank you for those who got our theme, and our theme is crisis, community's need for the church. I want to say to the community, as we strongly consider the events unfolding in this 2020 year, it is a revelation that we know that people are perished because they lack knowledge and they lack vision. And knowledge and vision must be spiritual. And it must be spiritual to the point of its 2020 vision. So when we look at the threads of this COVID health crisis that took a death toll of 100,000, or we look at the economical crisis with taking an unemployment toll of 40 million. And most of all, this racial injustice crisis that we are thankful that stars and athletes and ordinary people from all over the nation have come together in solidarity as we echo the oppression marred by names like Sandra Bland, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and locally named like Henry Green, Dante Bell, Kayleigh Alexander, Monte Shackelford, Trey Dawson, Tyree King, Obi Shepherd, and even Edward Hayes, and so many others in communities of color. As America points out this original stain of the sin of slavery and the origin of the police department, which was originally the Negro Slave Patrol to go out and find Negroes. We see many of the tactics even going on today continue to show that example. We can see the Lord of Harvest raising up laborers, raising up people to stand up, because we see the streets being flooded from small towns to large cities across the nation. As Dr. Martin Luther King said, the power of demonstration is legislation written in the streets. We believe as pastors, we are called to lift up our voice as a trumpet. We encourage, personally, I'm encouraging every member of the conference to join the local NAACP, and we're asking every member of the community, join your local church. Get your name on the roll. Become active in your local church, because it's better when we speak and we fight together. We will continue to demand accountability, implementing the 7 expectations that was submitted by the Clergy Coalition last year, along with the 7 recommendations that we partnered with the city attorney. And we also want to admit that we got some more expectations when it comes down to empowerment. Officers who are terminated for excessive use of force and other serious violations not be allowed to get their job back. And when it comes down to engagement, there must be real criminal justice reform. When it comes down to the diversion program, everybody get a chance at diversion. When it comes down to sentencing, DNA evidence is being used for testing and expanding the expungement laws. When it comes down to education, we want to make sure that education is funded for the public school system like every other school system. When it comes down to employment, we want to make sure that those who have records are employed. Not only those, but those with summer jobs for young people, to keep young people in learning programs and keep young people out of harm's way. Then when it comes down to environment, we want to make sure everybody got a chance at the American dream. That's home ownership. And we want to partner with the City Land Bank and the Community Land Bank to develop something like the model neighborhood or the dollar house, to whereas owner occupancy will make a difference. Then when it comes down to federally funded projects, that we will look to other churches and other religious organizations to have CDCs instead of just a select few. And then last but not least, I really want to point out something about enforcement. Here is a BB gun that a young man used to shoot out my basketball coach, just like they did last year. And instead of calling the police, instead of giving this young man a record, I had the community, they came, they told me who did it. So the community will talk and tell you when a community is together. When he told me he'd done it, I called the school, got his information, the principal of the school, and I thank you to the principal Baker at South High School and Alicia Gillison of the Columbus City Schools, the chief academic officer that arranged that, and the young man and his family that came and apologized. He's doing community service work, and that's what we need in our community. We need this in our community, that we come together as a community to make sure, and I want the pastor to make sure that we have a safe summer. And I'm looking forward to seeing you back again in September. So until I see you again, please be safe and continue to remember, Black lives really do matter. And we keep the protest on till we see the change that God has ordained. God bless you. God keep you is our prayer.